going over the final exam. So we'll be continuing. This next problem is asking us to find the area. Area is equal to base times height. So this would be my base, this would be my height. So 5a squared b times ab. And here I can put imaginary ones. Remember, when you multiply, you add exponents. So this one would be 5, and then I'm going to do a squared times a to the 1. You add those, you get a cubed. And then for b to 1 times b to the 1, if you add those, you get b squared. Here, this is the same problem as before, but now they're giving us numbers to plug in. So we already know the area is 5a cubed b squared. Now we just need to plug in 3 for a and 2 for b. Three cubed means you're doing 3 times 3 times 3, that's 27. And then 2 squared is 4. So now we multiply all of these, 5 times 27 times 4. We get 540. And then a lot of students forgot to put units. Here the units are centimeters. But because it's area, it's centimeters squared. Anytime you have area, your units are squared. This next problem, we want the area, so base times height. So we would do x plus 6 times x. Here you actually have to distribute your x. So x times x is going to be x squared. And then 6 times x is a positive 6x. It's basically like you're multiplying x times the whole base. The next problem is the same problem as the previous. So we already know our area is x squared plus 6x. And now we're going to plug in 5 inches to figure out the actual value. So we're going to plug in for x. So for anywhere I see an x, I'm going to plug in a 5. 5 squared is 25. And then 6 times 5 is 30. So this comes out to 55. And then we want to include units. So here it's inches, but since it's area, it would be inches squared. This one wants the quotient, so we're dividing. When you divide, you subtract exponents. So negative 18 divided by 6 is negative 3. And then x to the 6 divided by x cubed, if you subtract the exponents, you get x cubed. So the answer would be negative 3x cubed. The next one says divided by, so we could have written it as a division problem. And remember, when you divide, you subtract exponents. So if you start with 15 divided by negative 3, that's negative 5. Then x to the 7 divided by x to the 3, if you subtract, you get x to the 4th. So negative 5x to the 4th, and the y stays the same because there was no y on the bottom. This next one's also a division problem. So again, when you divide, you subtract exponents. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. X cubed divided by x to the imaginary 1 would be x squared. So far we have 4x squared. And then y to the 5th over y squared. If you subtract, you get y cubed. This one's different. We have a power of a power. So here you want to give the 2 to everything. So you would rewrite this as 8 squared and x to the 4 squared. 8 squared, or 8 times 8, is equal to 64. And then here, when you have a power, you multiply. So it's 4 times 2, so it's x to the 8th. Now, next one says product. Product means to multiply. And when you multiply, you add your exponents. So we're doing 3x squared y to the 5th times negative 4x cubed y squared. And let's start with our big numbers. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Then x squared times x cubed. If you add exponents, you get x to the 5th. And then y to the 5th times y squared. If we add those, we get y to the 7th. This next one's going to combine several of the rules. So first here, you're going to do 6 times 3. So that becomes 3n to the 18 times 2n to the negative 8. And then we can multiply 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is equal to 6. And then for n, remember when you, sorry, this should be a negative 8. Let me fix it. When you multiply, you add exponents. So it's going to be n18 times n to the negative 8. That means you're doing 18 plus negative 8. That comes out to n to the 10. So our answer here would be 6n to the 10th. This next one, I'm going to simplify the denominator first. So the denominator, we have 3x to the negative 1 times 2yx squared. If you do 3 times 2, that's 6. Next, I'm going to do my x's. So if you do, hold on, sorry about that. X to the negative 1 times x squared. You get negative 1 plus 2, which equals x to the imaginary 1. And then we can just bring down the y. So that whole denominator is equal to 6xy. So that whole bottom, I'm going to rewrite it as just 6xy. From there, it's a division problem. So if you do 24 divided by 6, you get 4. And then x fourth divided by x to the imaginary 1. Remember, when you divide, you subtract exponents, so you get x cubed. And then y cubed over y to the imaginary 1, you'll get y squared. So our final answer here would be 4x cubed y squared. You can use these solutions to help you make corrections to your final exam.